Alrighty, my friends. I'm gonna do a couple bow technique videos that you can watch over the break and practice to improve. These bow strokes are used with everything, so it's really good to practice your bow strokes outside of your music because it will support any new music you play. So the first bow stroke, the most commonly used bow stroke, is the Detache. So that one is basically your default bow stroke when you just want something to sound clear and strong. If there are no markings on a note, you play a Detache. So Detache sounds like this. There's a slight bit of weight into the string, so my pointer finger is slightly pushing. I'm not like I'm not that far into the string, but my elbow's nice and tall. My bow is connected to the string. I don't come off the string, and I'm just into the string. So let's try a D major 1-octave scale with the Detache bow stroke, and you should hear a very, very slight clicking sound in between each note. So it's not a pure legato where it's smooth, but I do want to hear the separation. So it's really obvious when I've changed bows. All right. My pointer finger has a little bit of weight added to it, little push. See that stick? But it's not all the way down like for a Martele or something like that. So Detache, even and sticky. 1 and 2 and ready and D. So there's your Detache. The other side of that, really similar bow stroke, is the pure legato. So Detache, I consider Detache a legato stroke because you do connect the notes together, so there's no space in between them. But it's not a pure legato in terms of legato really should sound as connected as possible. A real legato would be maybe a slur, where you don't hear a disconnection, but you also should be able to make the legato sound even while you're changing bows. So let's try that together. Let's do 2 quarter notes per pitch. So you have 2 chances to get the note to sound connected. 1, 2, smooth and steady, go. Oh, I did only 1. I meant to do 2. Ready and double that. So there we go. The only difference between Detache and legato is the feeling in this pointer finger. For Detache, I add pressure and I keep it there. For legato, there's no pressure in my pointer finger at all. I'm just floating across the string, and the weight of my arm is enough to keep me on the string, so I don't have to add any extra with the pointer finger. Now, after the legato strokes, we have a bunch of different kinds of staccato strokes. And those are going to be the ones that do have space between the notes. The most common staccato is going to be Martele. Now, you can use Martele in lots of different contexts. It's mostly used in terms of the accent. When you see this, it's really important to have Martele happening when you see the accent sign, which is a sideways little V like that. However, when you're playing staccato, you should also be using the Martele stroke, but it's not as intense. So you can have a kind of soft or a less heavy Martele if you have a lot of staccato notes in a row, like. Something like that. What's happening there is I'm pushing into the string and releasing. Pa, 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 pa. Now that can also happen more intensely. Even though actually if I was playing Allegro, I wouldn't play it that intensely, but you get the idea. So I'll give you two scales now, one with a lighter martele and one with a heavy martele, the accented martele. So first, here's just your plain old staccato. If you see notes with dots and you're not bouncing them, you should be playing martele. So here we go. Before we do the martele though, let me explain it just a tiny bit for those of you that haven't had this taught in class. This is also using the pointer finger and how Detache holds it in and keeps it there. What martele is doing is pushing in and releasing like that. So a good thing to start before you even move your bow is just, and what's happening there is I'm squeezing my thumb and my pointer finger and my pinky are squeezing at the same time. Actually, my pinky is not doing anything, just kidding. It's just my pointer finger and my thumb. Let's go like right below the middle. Try some of those. You can try it out here too. It's harder. Try it at the middle. It's the easiest at the middle. And it is hard really right down here. So do you see how fast? It does feel like a bounce. It's just like, even though it is down, up, it's like super fast. Bounce, pa, pa. And then when I'm moving, it should feel exactly the same. It's kind of just like a little squeeze in the hand. And that's why I can do it going so fast, because it really is just a little squeeze. Let's try a few times slowly on an open string. So you want to push in and then pull in. So that's that down up motion, really slow. But really what happens is it goes, and it happens. I release right away. So you don't want to hold on or it gets way too crunchy. So you want to release that pressure almost as soon as you put it in. And that pressure happens right at the beginning of the note and it goes away. So the note is then shaped just like this little cymbal. It's louder at the beginning and it gets quieter inside just one note. So it's a really, really fast decrescendo. And you should get a ringing sound. So let's practice that together now. Let's do a D scale. And we're gonna do, let's do four staccato marteles per note. 1 and 2 and ready and go. The accented ones, they are bigger and heavier. Ready? Try it. And those weren't super perfect because I was sliding a little bit, but you can get at least the idea of what the martele stroke should be. So those are your first most important 3 basic bow strokes: legato, detache legato, and martele. And you can do martele either small and a little bit lighter or heavier. There's some more advanced bow strokes, but I'll make some other videos out of that. So you can practice those 3 bow strokes on your scales. You can put them on songs that you know and experiment, or you really can just try it on an open string, and that will be just as helpful. Enjoy.